Alright, so here's a look at some gameplay for Neptunia Game Maker R Evolution. So I'm just going to showcase basically everything that's in this game. So what we see here is that we have, I believe this is the unvoiced dialogue right now. So it's kind of sad that Neptunia still is using unvoiced dialogue. I mean, I'd even take just dubbed or subbed with Japanese voices and have that be the audio. I mean, if they have more audio for Japanese, I mean, I'd probably take that just because I need something. When I hear no sound, it gets kind of boring, and yeah, you kind of have to you just read through it faster because you're not giving them the voices that they have made for them. So I am kind of bored with this game, not gonna lie. It has a lot that it has done in the past before, the visual novel style dialogue where you've got the cutouts that are beautifully done. I mean, these are nice, these are really cool looking, but yeah, they're probably the best they've ever looked, honestly, because the animations, they have those little gifs like how Ram's moving right now and how they each have their unique kind of movements, but even still, it's still pretty stiff, because you'll see sometimes where they'll be yelling or they'll do like a very loud exclaim or surprised and their bodies just don't move, or they're crying and their bodies don't move, like their hands don't go up to their face like they're super surprised or scared, or their arms don't go up past their head because they're angry or something. It's just they stay static and they stay still, and they kind of do the little shifting here and there, but I mean, it still just has that stiff look, static. I don't know if that's the right word, but yeah, so I don't know. There's a lot to watch here. So this is 24 minutes of video, and I think about a good 10 minutes, actually I would say about 20 minutes of this is going to be about all dialogue, and a lot of it I'm reading, which is annoying. So I think right now, actually, since I got auto, it is doing the voice. Then you still get these hand-drawn scenes, which are nice, which I honestly would take this every single page over the moving picture or the moving character things, because seeing those characters moving and doing the little shifting here and there for the whole game run, I mean, it gets really old really quick. I mean, it's nice and novel at first. You're like, ooh, cool, they're actually moving, and yeah, their boobs move, and you got some jiggle physics, and they have the little funny, quirky animations for emotions, like if they're mad or if they're surprised. But then kind of just loses its, novelty after the good, 10, 20 minutes, because it's like, if you're a Neptunia fan, you've already seen this before. But if you're a new fan, you're kind of realizing like, oh, this is probably what I'm going to be seeing for the majority of the game. And you'd be right. You'd be right to say that, which is sad. I just wish they would use their character models or something instead of those 2D model. Like, I just wish there was something more when they do these dialogue, because, and even then, that's not even talking about what they're talking about. A lot of the stuff, what they're talking about is just developing video games and consoles and pre-ordering and people buying something. It's so ironic how they're developing a game and they're trying to make it the best quality game and people are clamoring to get it. But in reality, for Neptunia games, nobody's clamoring to get those games. There's no huge talk about how great quality they are. Yeah, so it's just kind of sad to see how that is so ironic that this game has that as the major plot. That's all you're going to be talking about, is about making games, is about developing games. I even have a point where I show disc development. So you do have some type of like menu navigation type gameplay, which is, kind of typical Neptunia because it's based in turn-based, which is kind of interesting. I wish that this game would have just been turn-based. If they would have just done turn-based, I think it would have ran better when it's in the field, because when you're in the field, it does not look like when it does 2D, because the 2D runs at 60 frames per second. It's fluid, it's flawless. That you can sit and watch all day. But if you look at when it's in the field, when you're running around, when you're getting into battles, when you're actually fighting, it's all running at a choppy frame rate, and it's all like 30 frames per second. And especially on PS5, I just think that's unheard of. I don't know why they didn't put any graphic options, nothing to improve performance or to get that more frame rate, which gamers nowadays, you can just tell. And when you look around, that's what a lot of people want. And some people do want the higher graphic look, you know, all the higher textures and the shadows and the lighting and all that. But if we can tone it down so that the rate of the gameplay is smoother, I almost, my eyes get tricked in thinking that it looks better too. I don't know if that's what other people feel or how they reason it, but like if I'm going to play Stellar Blade, I'm going to put that at balanced, because I want it to run really fluidly, and I want it to look good. Performance, I can understand it, or not performance, but yeah, that one probably just looks bad. I haven't even tried that one, but if you wanted to do the graphic option, I forget what they call that, resolution prioritization. So if you prioritize resolution, it runs slower, but it looks better. So at least with that, you have the option in Stellar Blade. But this game, you have no options, nothing. There is barely anything. I don't even think there's a brightness option. That's just how limited it is. So you can see this is 6 minutes here, and I still have not even gone into a dungeon, haven't fought a battle, and a lot of this stuff is really simple. Like, look, they're just talking about a warehouse, and they've lost some of their consoles because, and you'll see this kind of spoiler-ish, but there's like a fake white heart, fake black heart. So it's just kind of, it's a very, very minor story piece. So don't feel like if that was spoiled to you, it's nothing that's going to ruin the game for you. Because there is the new characters. I haven't mentioned that. There's her, there's Jaga, and which is, if you think about it, that kind of sounds like Sega. And then you have Radio, which I'm not sure, that's another console that they're having like a, what's it called, cameo in. Yeah, so you have Radio, Jaga, you have Pippi, which is, I somehow know this because I was reading it somewhere, but it's like the Apple Pippi. It's this Apple console they tried to release, but it tanked and sucked, so they didn't continue that. And I think the other one's like Atari. One of them is Atari, so I wonder if that, I don't know, but yeah, they're based on consoles again. So it's kind of sad because they're all discontinued consoles and all ones that sucked. So it's kind of ironic in that way. Again, I'm using that word a lot, but they're using discontinued consoles for this game that is their next newest best thing, supposedly, but it's not. It is. I played Neptunia V-II. And I should talk about that more, like their other games. Neptunia V-II, that game was really cleverly put together. I thought all of that, I never was really super bored. There was some times when it would run a little long, like these times where you're sitting here reading and talking between your party members, and it just kind of seems like it drags on. But at least in that game, it seemed like there was a point, there was a purpose. Like you always were driven towards something new. In this game, I don't really know where the direction is. Like they want to make the best quality game, so they become the next game industry company. I don't know, it just doesn't seem like life-threatening like the other ones. And you do have R4, she does make her appearance, but her appearance doesn't seem as noteworthy. It's just kind of one note, which, I mean, that's kind of the whole thing with this, is everybody has their one note. Like Blanc, she's all pissed off, and that souvenir type where she just always is angry, and Lolly, whatnot. And then you got Noir, who's the super souvenir, who's, you know, super closeted and doesn't want people to know how insecure she is. And you got Neptunia, who's the ironic hero who always kind of breaks the fourth wall. So you've got these tropes that they fulfill, but now you've got these new characters that just, I don't know, they don't really have much that they're bringing new or like adding, like where you're just pushing the edge. I feel like they're just towing the line a lot. And that's what is kind of hurting this series. They need to stop towing the line. They need to actually do something new. Instead of doing these 2D cutscene like this, like do the 3D models. Try to actually animate that. Or if you're going to do these 2D models, do something more. Like make them actually move and have fluster in their face, and they actually go and reach and they scratch their, their hair or something more with their arms and their bodies. Because when they scream, like right there, Pippi's screaming right there, she's not moving at all. Like, open up now! Like, they should be yelling, like they should be moving their arms. Her face should get red or something. But there's just, with this 2D animation, you don't get much. You just get this little GIF looking 2-second change in clip, or something they have saved. They can just copy paste, and it's sad because that's back, and that's like something I would expect from PS3, that era. So that was like 2010, because the Neptunia first came out in like 2012. I thought I saw, or no, it was 9 years ago. So 2013 was about one of the first games. I could be wrong, but this series has been around 9 years, and this is just how far they've come, and I think this is it. At least with this, you have some animation. I mean, I played the Senran Kagura and Neptunia crossover. That one they didn't even animate. So that was even less than this one. So at least they have that. But yeah, then if you really look deep, you look at the story. There's nothing going on. It is so boring. I barely even want to read it when they don't voice it. I skim through it because it's so boring. And I'm only like 7 hours in, 34% or something, according to the PlayStation thing. So yeah, there's a lot. I still have not even played it all. I've just been reading and listening for 11 minutes still. That is way too long for 2024. If we're going to have a true game, we need to have some gameplay mixed in, or some type of like trajectory to where this is going. I mean, they're going to slowly, we're going to be leading into a dungeon here, which, I mean, once you know the Neptunia formula, it's you go into a dialogue, you talk, and then you're forced to go to this dungeon. You run through these hallways, and then you get to the end of the hallways. You get to the boss. You kill the boss. They have some conversation. You might have a midpoint of the dungeon conversation, but then you'll get to the end, and then you'll talk, and then you'll get out of the dungeon. You'll have more dialogue. You'll talk. You'll go to the hometown. You'll do some more updating with your stuff, like just getting more weapons. Make with this, you're going to develop more discs maybe or something. But it's just kind of task oriented. There's not much like intuitive or novel. There's nothing novel or new about this. It's very old and tired. Something that should have stayed in the past, but somehow is still getting created with Idea Factory games. They're all pretty formulaic. If you look overall, they never really change. That's sad, because their fans are very diehard and they really care about their series. So I joined this series back when I first played was the Goddesses Online. And that was an action game. And I kind of forget that was an action game. That one was actually pretty good. I liked that. That got me into the series. That got my feet wet, and I fell in love. So then I bought V-II. I tried the first one. I think I even tried the first one before Goddesses Online. I don't know. There's probably other games that were happening in the time, because I was late to the jump on this series. But nonetheless, I've beaten Goddesses Online. I've beat the first one. I've beaten V-II. I beat the Senran Kagura Neptunia crossover. I tried the other two new ones. The oh god, I forget what that one's even called. It's like some music game, I forget, but they're online again. And that one was alright. I feel like that combat could have just used better optimization. That whole game just needed to be optimized a little better. And everything needs a little bit more, like, I don't know, like density. I feel like everything's so floaty and light, and nothing has substance to it. It's all, I don't know. Like when you play these other newer games like Stellar Blade, I'm always going to be referencing that now. That game has such weight and feels more real than this. I mean, obviously, yeah, this is an anime game, but I feel like we should be able to see a little bit more quality coming out. I mean, the way that they move in the battle, once you see, it just reminds me of N64. Even like I'm like, oh my god, this is so ancient. So yeah, I might cut it here. Let's see, and then I can just kind of jump ahead because this is getting a little long and drawn out. So combat is at 16 minutes 20 seconds.
Damn it, you're so reckless. Why'd you protect me even though we were fighting?
My body just moved on its own. Don't get the wrong idea.
The fakes are making a run for it. Let's go after them. I'll take care of Blackheart. You guys go make them pay. Yeah, you got it. Leave it to us. Is this place good?
All right, so here we go into the combat. We're loading into a dungeon. I'm just going to show running around a little bit, show off those jiggle physics, show off the walking animation. Don't do that much, but I do the running around a lot. So I'm switching to show that, actually I do the walking. So here's Neptunia in her grown-up form. These are all the bikini DLC, so this is actually like the premium edition, since that was locked behind that, which is really dumb. I was suckered into that. So I'm like, shoot, I might as well use these. So these bikinis are only accessible through the premium edition. And I'm just showing here the jumping, how kind of just looks stiff still. Nothing super amazing. Just to remind you, this is PS5. So this is also on Switch and PS4, I want to say. So it's still on that older gen console. So there is that. But even then, with a PS5 version, you'd think there'd be some graphical updates or some type of option to be able to like run it at a performance or run it at, prioritizing the resolution. But they don't have anything. Not even a brightness option, I don't think. So the game, when you are in combat, it looks like it's running at like 30 frames per second, which you get used to it over time, but coming off of Stellar Blade, like this just looks so choppy. And so, I don't know, it just looks like PS3, or sometimes even when I look at the way they move, I'm reminded of even N64. Sure, yeah, they have the nicer textures than N64, but they're still so stiff. And I don't know, they just don't seem lifelike like they used to. I mean, I look at V-II, and that game, when you can run it at 60 frames per second at high graphics, I mean, that game looks so good compared to this. Like, I would play V-II for the graphic options and all that, the way it looks and runs, over this any day. 30 frames per second is just bad. This is kind of a cool little feature. They have a bike now, so you can get through dungeons really fast. That was a nice quality of life improvement. So that, I will say, is cool. I was very happy about that. The video, when they record, it looks, I don't know if it looks as bad as it does when it's playing, but man, does the bike look choppy. It looks so bad. Like, you go so fast, but then it looks really bad too. Just imagine, the low frame rate, the bad graphics, the bad brightness, and you're moving fast and it's just choppy. I don't know. It just breaks the illusion. I know I'm playing a game the whole time. Not that I don't have that illusion all the time. It's just when I look at Stellar Blade again, I forget that I'm like looking at my screen and looking in, like it's just light. Like I'm actually invested into this world. I'm getting enthralled into it. But when you play this game now, and the state of fan service is just shit. It's so bad. And what's interesting is these menus, look at how they run at like 60 frames. They're super fluid. So I don't know what happened. I don't know if, since there's just not as much going on, they can allow higher frame rate, but you'd think they would lock it at 30 the whole time. But to show that it can do 60, it's just disappointed. And yeah, I'm not going to switch these lollies to swimsuits. That's just creepy. But yeah, that's, that whole bag of worms. So yeah, this is, and then I'm going to show you kind of some other stuff. So there's some progression there, but I'm locked behind something. So I don't know. It's pretty easy, minimal stuff. This is the disc development, so you can make equipable discs like in the past. So that gives you, it's like an accessory that you can create. You get all these different creators, and they all have a genre they fulfill. So right now I'm making a classic hardcore RPG with these two developers. I mean, super easy. You can close your eyes and just pick whatever, and you don't even know what the hell's going on. Because honestly, if I don't know what's the difference between action or a 3D action game and a 3D or RPG general developer, what are they going to give you for bonus attributes? I have no idea. There's nothing given there. So you just kind of have to, I guess they do have something there. They say added ability, experience gain, and stuff like that. So maybe I should stop looking at what type of game and what it is, more so what the attributes are. But yeah, and then I'm just showing that you can change the combos again, just like in the past. So if you think about it, the combat is really when you are in, let's say you're playing V-II, you go up to an enemy and you are able to attack standard. This whole game is standard attack. That's all it is. There's no fire, there's no magic, there's no... there's a couple little abilities. You can either do an attack ability or a defense ability. You can see on the right of my skills, I've got, like right now, for this character, she's got either a shield if I press triangle up, and if I just press neutral triangle, it's an attack. So there is some stuff, but you have to build that TP bar, and you can see right now Neptunia's TP is building up over time. I don't think you really even have to do anything. It's just a time meter, really. It's an ATB bar. So TP is not really... I think they just throw things in there and they don't even think about it half the time. Because really that's an ATB bar for your action ability. So, yeah. And it's super easy. Again, all it is for combat is square, or whatever you want. If you want to press square or X, you just have to keep pressing those, and then it'll prompt you to press the D-pad direction. And so you'll do that, and then it'll do a chain attack, and you can keep chaining over and over. You don't even have to hit the enemy, is how easy it is. You can be comboing and chain without hitting an enemy. So, and when you chain, it just gives you more damage. So it's easy on top of easy, and the enemies barely even damage you. I mean, bosses might give you a little bit of more money for your battle. God, I can't even think of the expression there, but you get the picture. All these battles are super easy. You might have an overpowered boss that they don't, have any type of armor or super armor all the time. So, yeah, typical overpowered Neptunia boss stuff. But I'm only about 8 hours in, and I think I have to chalk this one up to a loss, everybody. Like this, I don't know if I want to get into this anymore. I'm just waiting for other games that are going to come out later. Like I think the Lollipop Chainsaw Repop, that'll be a great fan service game coming out for us, fan service fans. But it's just sad to see that Neptunia is dead, and this game kind of shows it. You can make your own decision if you try it yourself, but I would say this is a dying series, unless they can go back to the old formula. Unless they can do what they did before with Neptunia 1, Neptunia 3, Neptunia V-II. I think Goddesses Online was good. I even think the battling in the Senran Kagura Neptunia crossover, that combat was super good, but it got easy, and it also got kind of repetitive sometimes. yeah, so I appreciate you sticking around. Hopefully you watch the whole video. This was totally off the cuff. I did not make any script, as you can probably tell. So hopefully I'll make some more videos like this. But if you're wondering, should I get this? Only get this if you're a Neptunia fan, and only on sale. I would wait for the Steam release. I wish I would have waited for Steam if that's a possibility, just because fans tend to fix things better than developers, but especially with this team, because Idea Factory, sometimes they make some shit decisions. So yeah, I would only recommend it if you're a Neptunia fan. If you're not, I would stay away from this one. I would just go ahead and try V-II or Goddesses Online. Try one of those, because those are good series in my book, especially if you play on Steam. You can do some modding. Modding's amazing for this game. So yeah, that is it. I would give this, if I were to have to rate out of 10, oh God, probably a 6 out of 10. Like, they made a game, I can play it, but damn, is it close to failing. So it has a D minus. So I would play it, but I would not recommend it, and I would not play it for a prolonged period of time. And if something else comes up, I'm dropping this immediately. So yeah, there you go.